Well known for his incredible artwork and captivating storytelling, Hayao Miyazaki is regarded as one of the best animation filmmakers in Japan of all time. He got his start creating comic books, but with the influence of Isao Takahata, Miyazaki was pulled into the world of animation. His career quickly took flight thanks to his never-ending flow of ideas and ability to bring them to life. After 14 years working alongside Isao Takahata at Apro Studio, they both went on to co-found Studio Ghibli, a film and animation studio, in 1985. There, he was able to create original works and have complete creative control over all his projects. Even though he had other films, Miyazaki began to make himself known as an auteur in 1986 with Studio Ghibli's first film, Laputa Castle in the Sky. The fascinating story of a growing friendship between a girl escaping mysterious military agents and a boy obsessed with air travel as they search for the castle in the sky is told through one of many meaningful screenplays that highlight Miyazaki's love for the environment and his pacifist views on war. Like the majority of his films, Castle in the Sky has a male protagonist who has an overwhelming love for air travel. This echoes Miyazaki's own fascination with aircrafts, something that has inspired him since childhood when his father worked with planes. As a result, most, if not all, of Miyazaki's movies have some element of air travel. His next movie was My Neighbor Totoro in 1988. Audiences and critics alike fell in love with his tale of two sisters, Satsuki and Mei, and their father moving to the country to be closer to their hospitalized mother. As the girls are exploring their house, they find that the forest they live next to is home to magical creatures called Totoros, and throughout the movie they have adventures together. The film touches on more realistic issues while still including an abundance of childlike imagination, and people were enchanted by the idea of young girls finding strength in times of hardship, and how they could see the challenges of the world around them without having their innocence shattered. This quality of seeing the truth but remaining innocent can be seen throughout all of his films. A surprising amount of Miyazaki's films have absent or missing parents, but instead of dwelling on that, his characters accept it and become stronger and more independent. Many of his characters are similar to actual people he knows. The mother in My Neighbor Totoro is similar to his own mother, who had spinal tuberculosis and as a result was in and out of the hospital over the course of 9 years. By 2001, Miyazaki was known all over the world as the man who was able to create incredible stories and bring them to life. That year, he released Spirited Away. Today, it's one of his best-known films, but at the time it brought new life into his work, being much more dark and ambient than audiences were used to. However, it still had all the elements that made it a Miyazaki film. The curious story follows a young girl, Chihiro, who must work at a bathhouse in the world of the spirits until she finds a way to save her parents and escape. Like all his films, Miyazaki continues to explore the theme of the different elements of human nature, showing genuine human kindness alongside human greed. Chihiro's parents are turned into pigs, and she must find a way to save them. Along the way, she shows strength and resilience. Spirited Away also shows Miyazaki's views on empowerment through physical labor, a strong female protagonist, and his love for overly complex machinery. Much like Kubrick, he puts hours and hours of work into his films and is constantly thinking about them. He would only take Sunday off and even came into work on holidays. He also listened to the advice of people around him, wanting all ideas in case something worked better than what he had. Not only that, but he also focuses on the duality of humans, showing greed on one side and kindness on the other. Miyazaki has said that he doesn't want to make movies that tell children, you should despair and run away. He wants to show that the world is cruel but life's worth living. Unlike most children's movies, he highlights both the worst parts of humanity and the best parts, showing our greed and destruction, while also showing love and resilience. This idea of showing both qualities is one of the things that makes Miyazaki's movies so intriguing. He usually shows this with strange shadow-like blob creatures that show corruption and greed. On the other side, there's always a character who does their best to show kindness no matter where they go. In a way, this could be linked back to self and shadow self, the shadows being the darker side of humanity. Other Miyazaki tropes that can be seen in our mashup include a bike scene that brings two characters closer together, pair of characters, one of which finds themselves in a situation and the other guides them out, the use of water to show acceptance of change or new beginnings, as well as shots of the characters during the credits to show what happens next and give some closure. In the end, Miyazaki's films have a strange mix of neorealism and magic realism elements. His characters are often based on people he knows, and his movies focus on everyday people doing everyday things. If neorealism is life with the dull bits included, Miyazaki takes those bits and shows them through the eyes of a child, bringing wonder and amazement to each mundane task. As a string of incidents carries the story through strangely believable worlds filled with magic, duality is brought into his films once more.